Forgot to
Yeah.
hit record.
Pasted the family night, one of the recent family night record Zooms, and again, it was more connected in the side chat. And I started blasting out text messages again. And as I was texting people, I was like, "Oh, this person that responded to me, this person that responded to me, this person that
Yeah.
responded to me," and it was just like it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, because our community boasts so much collaboration,
Yep.
and it was just again. So when you say that, it's just like I can 100% see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. The gal that picked me for the golden ticket thing,
Yeah.
like she responded once, like, hi, and that was it. But she picked me and I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, that actually just happened. So Pace was giving away Squad Up 2026 tickets,
Yeah.
and that is actually that's what the connecting was for.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what it was. It was the
Yeah,
VIP thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So because somebody because they pronounce your last name
Yeah.
completely incorrectly.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah. So one of the guy that like picked me for the Squad Up Summit VIP ticket, same thing. Like I just like shot him a text message and was like, "Hey, this is me. This is who I am." And then he responded back just one message. And there was other people that I was having like, we were sending
Yeah.
messages back and forth like 10, 15, 20 messages.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, it was just like that one guy that was like, "Yeah, I choose him." And I was like, that. It's funny how those kind of things work.
Yeah, it is because I actually did a 20-minute Zoom with somebody from that night yesterday to
Hmm.
chat with them and kind of give them a little bit of advice. And so that reminded me, I was like, hey, I have not heard from that gal that picked me that night.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna reach out to her, and I have not heard from her since.
Wow.
So
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
yeah.
It's when I, it's some people, it's like everybody has their different personalities. There was that night when we were connecting. One person, because it was super late, because
Yeah.
you're in Wichita or Kansas City.
No, I'm in Central Florida, but I'm from
Oh,
Wichita.
you're from Wichita. Okay, okay. Yeah, so we're here on the East Coast. Um, and so when Pace was wrapping up, it was like 11:30 or something
Yeah.
like that. And one guy, he was like, he called me like twice. And I was like, okay, maybe it's something kind of like more dire or more important. He kept me on the phone for like an hour.
Oh, really?
Um, like well past midnight, close to like 1 a.m. And but it was cool. He was just
Yeah.
kind of like spilling. He's one of those guys that he just like he needed to verbally vomit on someone.
Yeah.
So I was just his recipient.
Yeah.
Uh but and then the guy that chose me, I actually like I reached out to him several times. And we finally hopped on a Zoom. And it's just funny to see like how everybody's just kind of like in different spots. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's the other part that I always found interesting is the folks that are like, I don't know if the presumptuous is the right word,
Mhm.
but they're like, you should be interested in what I'm saying. Like this guy was like, I've got this deal. It's a 200 door apartment complex. And he's like, you said you can do private funding, right? And I was like, yeah, we do private money. I'm a connector. And I was like, so I know quite a few people. What do you need? Do you need like earnest money for it? Do you need like syndication? Like what do you got going on? He's like, well, it depends on your risk tolerance. I'm like, okay. So what do you need? And he's like, well, I need somebody to buy this apartment complex for me. And I was like, hey. I was like, how many deals have you done? How many apartment complexes do you own? He's like, well, zero. I just joined 2 days ago. I'm like, okay. Okay.
I, is that the apartment complex in Memphis, Tennessee?
I don't even remember where it was. I
Okay.
know it was Texas. It was Texas.
Okay, okay. And so
Um,
that literally the guy that kept me on the phone till 1 a.m. had the exact same story.
really?
The
That's
exact same
hilarious.
story,
Maybe it
man.
was the same guy. Like I'll go back through my text and see who it was. But yeah, he was like, I know. Oh, I asked him, I said, so do you have this under contract? He's like, no. And I was like, okay. So how do you know how much money you need? Like, you
Hmm.
know, and I said, okay. So is it listed? He's like, yeah, it's listed. I called the brokerage and talked to their office and I was like, oh. got it. So not really a deal or you have, but he was like, he was very insistent. He's like, hey, I need to know, do you have interest in doing this deal or not? Because I've got to talk to a lot of people. And I was like, okay, that's one way to approach it.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. I said, well, brother, is like, I'm sorry, I just don't think it's a deal for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's but yeah, a little rough around the edges still.
yeah, a little bit, a little bit. So, refresh me. You've got like a sister in Wichita?
Wichita. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my my older sister, she's still in Wichita. So she moved out there, oh my God, probably close to hold on, 30, about to be 32. So probably close to about a decade ago, if not a decade ago.
Okay.
And she taught at the college out there.
Which one?
Uh what was it? Did
There's Wichita State is the
the
big
big one.
one.
Is that are what's their color? Are their colors the
Well,
yellow and black?
yeah,
Yep, that one.
yeah, the
Uh,
Shockers.
yeah. Because we toured. I remember I was like, because we toured the campus, and I was like, what is a shocker? Like, what is that
Yeah,
even? What is your mascot?
nobody knows.
Um, but yeah, so she's out there. So she worked at the university. And then kind of worked her way up. Her last position was at the dean of she was the dean of students.
Okay.
Um, and so, but she left there, I think, probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And
Okay.
then she went into a private company for a couple years, and now she's doing some consulting, but she still lives out there,
Okay.
and seems like she's going to stay out there for pretty much the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of friends, and good. Once she kind of get out to somewhere, she's put her roots down pretty heavily. So, yeah, but she lives out there. Me and my family were in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. But all of our family is located in Lexington, Kentucky. Um, so yeah, we moved out here 7 years ago this summer for my job. So I still have a W-2 job. I do software
Okay.
development.
Okay. So where in Virginia are you?
Richmond,
Okay.
yeah, kind of central Virginia.
Is that where you're doing most of your business, or are you also
Yeah,
working
yeah,
in
that's where like
Kentucky?
90, probably like 95% of the stuff I do is in Richmond, Virginia. A little bit of stuff that we do is in um like the Virginia Beach area, or in like kind of more rural places, and then I
Okay.
still do some stuff back in Kentucky as well.
Okay. What do you think about Wichita
As far
for
as
real estate?
I've never looked into it. So I've only been that one time.
Okay.
With yeah, with my family, and I think at that time I don't think I was in real estate. I was super young.
Mm.
Uh, so I didn't really get into real estate until grad school. I don't want to say I was probably like a junior or senior in college at that time.
Yeah.
Uh, but and then that was like 10 years ago. So I don't know how, but I remember I could see potential because it was at that time, I remember there was a lot of development going on, where my sister was. So she wasn't in like the city of Wichita. She was kind of like, I guess, one of the suburbs or one of some of the outer skirts of Wichita.
Yeah.
And, so where she was, it was just like, I was like, because at that time I was driving too. So it was, yeah. So probably like 20, 21. But I was driving around because I went to the YMCA there a couple of days that I was there. I went and got food and went to the store and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember like from where she was, I was like, everything's really far.
Yeah.
But again, they were doing a lot of construction, a lot of development. So I would imagine by this time it's a lot better. But I really do like areas that have a large college population,
Yeah.
for like student housing or um, even for teachers or anything like that. So any place that has like a strong college population, I'm really open to.
What is your main MO? Are you doing long-term rental? You said you just mentioned student housing, but what is your main thing?
Right now, we do our main thing is wholesaling.
Okay.
So we wholesale the entire state of Virginia, minus Northern Virginia. So once you start getting up in like the DC area, we stay away from that just because of how crazy things get up there.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we mostly wholesale. Out of that wholesaling, me and my wife, we do buy and holds and fix and flips. So we'll pick up particular properties that fit into our rental strategies, which has for the most part just been long-term rentals. So we have three doors that are long-term rentals, and then we have two doors that are short-term rentals. And so and then for fix and flips, we just started that. So we're still looking to pick up our first one. So we're going to partner. We have a regional leader here in Richmond. We're going to
Hmm.
partner with him for a fix and flip because he does probably like 30 of them a year here in Richmond.
Yeah.
So he has the contacts, experience, and all that kind of stuff. And he's an agent himself, so he just lists it, so he doesn't have
Yeah.
to pay that additional fee.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work with him to do some flips.
Is Virginia a disclosure or non-disclosure state?
Disclosure, yeah, we can
Oh,
see, yeah, we can see all the
okay.
prices.
The reason why I'm asking is because since you have a wholesale background and that's what you do, I was curious if you could do Wichita. The reason being is I have, well, a lot of connections there, but I have a really big buyer in Wichita, and
Mm,
nobody's really been able to produce anything um, for me in Wichita. Like, I've talked to a couple people with wholesale teams, and they're
mm,
like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we can do it." And then they just like, I don't know if it's because it's a non-disclosure state, they just kind of like flake
mm.
out. Like, I literally have a guy that would buy $20 million in real estate tomorrow if I
Oh
could
wow.
find it for him. Like that big of a buyer, right? And so I've talked to several people, and I'm like, "Hey, like, can you help?" And like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we got this, no problem." And then they just for whatever reason flake out. And like a couple of the leaders in the community that are pretty big wholesalers have like kind of ghosted me on it. And it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just keep doing this on my own.
Yeah.
Um, like I'm good on the phones, but I've never closed anything. So
Hmm.
it's like I still need help. And like to do it at that scale, I would actually need probably two or three people at least to hit up the area
Yeah. So
productively.
are you are you guys looking for single family or multifamily?
He would go up to 24 doors, but his focus is single family long-term rental.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Is there I would imagine are there no like big groups of sub two people out in Wichita that you found thus far?
Nope. There's
Wow.
a handful of people that are actually in sub two or in Gator, and before I left, I actually got them together a few times to
Hmm.
try and like powwow and like, hey, we're all in the same place trying to do the same thing. Let's work together and stuff.
Hmm.
And there's a really good TC named January Batten that lives there. She's awesome. But yeah, most of them aren't doing much. There's one guy that actually does quite a bit of wholesale, Alex Peranzi,
Hmm.
but he's doing his own thing. And like I've tried to kind of reach out and work with him before, and he's nice. He'll respond once in a while, but for the most part, you can tell he just kind of doesn't want anything to do with anybody else. So
Okay.
I
Gotcha.
mean, he's not mean or anything. He's
Hmm.
not like rude. He just it's clear from his inaction that he doesn't really want to do it. He
Yeah.
won't come to our meetups. Like he won't return most people's calls. I'm like, hey brother, I've got a really big buyer. Like send me all of your stuff that you get sub two. He's like, oh, I'm keeping them for myself. Like, okay, cool.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Oh, yeah, I
so
can.
Wichita is cash flow. It's not appreciation. It's a cash flow state.
Yeah, yeah. Most of the I not nothing that I do is banking on appreciation. Appreciation for me is always just a cherry on top.
Yeah, yeah,
At least from where I'm at currently. I know different people have different strategies and all that kind of stuff, and because you get out into like Texas or California, or, some of those bigger places, and they appreciate year over year, hand over fist, and that's
yeah,
how people kind of make their money. But I like the cash flow strategy of things. But
yeah.
yeah, I can because with my wholesaling, it's me and two partners.
Hmm.
So um I can run it by. We do a weekly. We follow the EOS system,
Hmm.
so I can float it by them and see what they think. Because we actually have to add, I think, 1 to 2 more markets this year,
Okay.
um, for what it is that we're trying to do. So if we could, and it's always better to have your buyers identified beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes things so much easier. So, does he have a buy box?
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah,
share?
and I've got that written down. But I mean it's pretty simple. He doesn't want to be like Section 8 stuff.
Mhm.
But he also doesn't want necessarily like new build either.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't because did you have like certain zip codes
Yep.
or places? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I'll send him over to you. Like I have everything written down from all the other people I've sent it to previously.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Yeah. That because that'll help us out because then I can show them and be like, hey, you know, um, this guy's super serious. This
Yeah.
is what I'm looking for. That'll be more of an argument on my case that if we can find something and deploy the capital because we spend currently like a little less than 10. So we spend probably like, I think right now our market spends like 8K a month
Okay.
uh, for the areas that we hit and the stuff that we do currently.
Are you guys doing cash or creative?
Both.
Both. Okay, cool. He
Both.
really wants to do creative, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to land anything for him yet.
Yeah, creative's a little more difficult. To come as far as wholesaling, it's a little bit more difficult to come across for a volume sake of things.
Yep.
Just most people want the cash and get out. Um, so for us in our current metrics, we probably do one out of every probably like 8 to 10 deals, somewhere in that ballpark is a creative deal.
Mhm.
But again, probably like 70-90% of the stuff that we do is straight cash.
Yeah.
Um, so but we do stuff. So like we have a couple creative deals, and so we have like 6 deals in escrow. Well, we have 6 contracts right now. 3 of them are in escrow, pending close, and then the other 3 are being marketed. And out of those, we have one creative deal um, that we have here in Virginia. So we do come across them. It's just
Sure.
a little bit more rare.
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
yeah, so we do. And then for I don't that'll be something else we'll have to kind of discuss a little bit too, is like our marketing in that area. So because right now we do cold call, but we do a white glove cold call service. So they generate we send them the areas, so like the zip codes and the particular list that he would be interested in. Like again, you said like no Section 8 and things like that, so we can hit up maybe like some vacant landlords and particular areas, all that kind of stuff, water shut off lists, tax delinquents, that stuff. Um, and then they are the ones that call the leads. They're trained cold callers through that company, so they manage them. They manage their KPIs and all that kind of stuff, and then they're advertised to send us anywhere from like 10 to 5 to 10 per week per cold caller. Um, and then outside of that, we do some PPL. Um, and then we're about to start SEO once the one of our deals closes that's in the pipeline right now.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little bit of marketing kind of already going that we can tap into. So like it's really easy for us to give them a different list or add a caller. It just has to the marketing spin just has to be there for it.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I'd love to explore that and see what you guys think of it. I think it's a pretty overlooked area, kind of
Mm,
like a lot of the Midwest, in Arkansas and Oklahoma and,
yeah.
Southwest or South Central Kansas, where Wichita is, because it's affordable and not everybody is really convinced that it's where they should be. And I think they're really mistaken because those areas were in like the Forbes top 5 places to live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because of affordability. and they're stable. So when like, Florida and Texas and California, all those places, when their markets crash, like Wichita just stays nice and flat. It might fluctuate a tiny bit, but in 2008, like it fluctuated a bit, but
Mm.
nowhere near what everybody else did. So they're just pretty insulated from all the impacts of the all the other markets. So
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I would love to get kind of explore that. I don't want to mess up your relationship or anything like that. So we can probably, if we do decide to go down that route, create like a JV agreement or something like that.
yeah,
And that way we can have conversations with you and your buyer and see, exactly what we need to do and what we need to drill into. But yeah, I'll
okay,
float it past my team during our next level 10, which again it's usually weekly, but with with the baby pending any day,
sure, yeah,
I would we our induction is scheduled for this upcoming Thursday.
oh, okay,
If he doesn't come on his own before then. So if everything goes if regardless of what if he comes himself or he doesn't come himself, then we should have a baby on Friday.
okay,
Uh, So that might mess up that particular meeting, but
yeah,
I'd be at the following one, or and I can just send messages and have them kind of go back and forth with it a little bit. But yeah,
sure.
so yeah, give me I'll float it by them and then see what they think, and then we can touch base again.
Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. So what's your, excuse me, what's your kind of long-term strategy? What are you going to be focusing on, and why are you doing this?
So my long term strategy, as of right now, um, learn that it can always fluctuate, keep it pretty flexible, but I just want to own assets that will kind of everybody else's the general thing is like financial freedom, and I think
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? Have my daily not daily my personal living expenses for myself and my family completely covered by um cash flowing assets.
yeah,
So what those cash flowing assets really look like, I don't 100% care. It could be a large group of single families, it could be some single families mixed with some multifamily, it could be at that time, I could have sold all my single families and moved completely into multifamily. It could be multifamily syndication that I'm just, getting cash flow off of.
yeah,
That doesn't 100% matter to me in the long run. Um, and then as far as like the wholesaling and flipping goes, those are just means for active income and cash flow generation that I can use to acquire those long-term assets. So everything that I kind of do and think about right now is just like how to replace income, replace my income and our family's income with real estate income,
yeah,
building up that passive portfolio, or what people say passive. I put passive in air quotes because again, I've owned rentals for since 2018.
mm,
So some are a lot more passive than others. But just building up those that portfolio so that it'll eventually I can start taking from it and paying off our monthly living expenses off of that, and then being a once I get to that point of that stability, then I can really sit down and be like, okay, like now, like what gives me energy in real estate, and what can I just start
yeah,
not really dive into now that I don't have the weight of a W-2, or the weight of like am I going to be able to make mortgage payments and car payments this month and all that kind of stuff. Like once all that's taken care of, like what can I really sink my teeth
yeah.
into?
So can you give a little bit of advice for those folks? We were talking about some newbies earlier. Can you give some advice to folks that are trying to get started, like mentality? What mentality do people really need to have trying to get into this? Let's say their goals are identical to yours. They need to replace their W-2 income and set up the future for their kids. What mentality do you think is helpful, and what mistakes did you make that you would want people to avoid?
It's so funny, man, because I think like with the community that we're in, like I joined Sub 2 for a very specific purpose. And I want to say it was different from other people. Well, from your average person. So a lot of people they get in, I want to learn creative finance. Um, which I did too, right? Like Pace and his ads, like they jingle the keys of like,
Right.
we can do creative finance and no cash for done. But like I was in real estate for 4 years, 4 or 5 years before I joined Sub Two. So I'd already like everything I have now, I had before I joined Sub Two.
Mm,
Um, so for myself, like I joined specifically for Pace. Like Pace would do it's not necessarily like family nights, but he would do like almost like free YouTube versions of family nights.
mhm.
And like when he would talk about what it means to like be a man or have a
Yep.
family, and then he would just like paint the vision of like what the world could be and what your world could be and just like allow your dreams to like really spin off and all that kind of stuff. Like that's what brought me in. Like I wanted more of that. The people that he had access to, I never learned about I didn't know about Jerry Norton until Pace. I didn't know about Jamil Damji until Pace. I didn't know about Brent Daniels until Pace. I didn't know about Dean Graziosi until Pace. I knew
Mm,
about Tony Robbins, but not in the sense that I do now. I know about Grant Cardone, but not in the sense I do now. Like just the people that he has access to and that he brings into the community for our purpose and for our benefit, and that he was doing that on a free YouTube platform,
yeah.
or like private Zooms that you sign up for and things like that. Like that's what I signed up in Sub Two
Mm,
for. Um, and so one thing that Pace always says is like know thyself, and I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people over like you hear it and it's like oh yeah I know myself, or you kind of just like blanket over it. But I think that's something that even still for me today, like I really am not necessarily struggling with, but it's something that I'm working towards is like really knowing yourself. So I think that that's something that people who are new really need to like dig into, especially because I have a lot of I've had a lot of conversation with new people over the last like 2 weeks because of those family nights, and
mm,
nobody knows what they're doing, man. And it's
yeah.
like it's that's okay, but it's like they don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
They haven't taken the time to like just sit down and be like go through the Avatar series
Right.
or have a conversation with a more experienced person um, that's done a little bit, done some wholesaling or done some fix and flips or something that they're like interested in. Like they haven't had those conversations, so it's like really sitting down and knowing like what is it that you're trying to go for or trying to do. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but doing that and then I like also Caroline Kane in the Daily Dials. She gives like she just gives bars all the time. But one of the things that she really says is like hard work will outdo talent time
Mm,
and time again.
yeah.
So if you put in the work and you do the numbers and you're showing up every day, like you'll beat somebody talented that can just hop on the phone and close the deal. Like you'll do more than them. You'll show up more. You'll get the prize that you're looking for. So I really like that. So having that mentality of like it's always a numbers game.
Yeah.
Um, and then that leads into consistency. So that's something else that I think people just don't really realize as well. There's this one woman on the Daily Dial that shows up a lot, and she's just like, "Hey, like I made like 15 calls yesterday. I didn't get a deal," and I'm just like, "Yeah, you're not going." And then Caroline, she's like trying to like, I could see it like a little twitch in her eye, or she just like wants to kind of jump on a little bit, but she comes in, she does that a lot. Um, of like, hey, like I've made 5 calls today. I didn't get a deal. Like I've been doing wholesaling for like 3 weeks now, and I've made like 100 calls, and I haven't like no one wants to talk to me. No one wants to give me a contract,
Yeah.
and I think she doesn't have that mentality of consistency yet
Yeah.
and understanding it because like for our wholesale company, like we our lead sources like generate and touch probably several thousand people a week. From
Hmm.
several thousand people a week, we get 20 that raise their hand and say that they're interested in selling their house. And then by
Yeah.
the time we talk to them, There's like five of that 20 that's actually like, oh yeah, I'll entertain a conversation about selling my house. And then out of those five, there's one person that might actually sign a contract.
Yeah.
And that's on a week to week to week
Yeah.
to week to week basis. And I think people don't really, yeah, again, it's 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 the volume, it's the consistency, it's all that kind of stuff, and people don't really see the engine behind it.
Yep.
Um, and I think that that's something that throws a lot of people off. So those would be kind of like the three things I would say is like knowing thyself and knowing what you want to do, knowing that it's a volume game, you got to put the numbers up, and then having that consistency to keep it going is the thing that I see a lot of new people kind of struggling with.
Yeah. I agree. That and who not how.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the biggest one that I've learned personally.
Hmm.
Like, because I was beating my head up against the wall. It's like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, I'm a reasonably intelligent person. I'm pretty good on the phone. Like, I've done this before. Like, why
Yeah.
am I not? And a couple of people are like, dude, you need partners. Oh,
Hmm. Yeah.
okay, cool.
I
So
like
yeah,
that. That was something else that I, even for my personal portfolio, that was another reason why we joined Subtudes. Like I just, me and my wife, we were buying rental properties every like 2 or 3 years. But it was like, again, you buy something, you save up some money, takes 2 to 3 years, and then you buy something else, and you save up more money, it takes 2 to 3 years. And I
yeah,
was like, this scale, like this is not happening
yeah,
at the rate that I thought it was. So we were like, we need that was another reason. I mean, we joined for pace, and those are reasons
yeah.
I kind of said, but also the community of like there has to be people that we're like we're not getting that traction because we don't know enough people.
Yeah. I went through the same thing. I tried to buy a property traditionally, and it was going to take like all of our, equity out of our house to buy it. It didn't go through, thankfully. But I was like, how the hell do people do this multiple times in a year?
Yeah.
Like, that was going to be like every like ounce of equity that we had. And
Hmm.
then I was like, how do I do this again next year? Like, I'm not going to have that much equity next year. Like, what do I do? It's like,
Yeah.
sure, you can refi, but like, it's like I don't understand how are people doing this, two, three, five, 10 times a year. And I was like,
Mhm.
I obviously need to get around people that understand how money works because I don't get it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like I did not understand how money works, like
Hmm.
straight up. And I was like, because I was going through the Dave Ramsey stuff, and I was like, save, 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 save,
Exactly. Yeah.
save. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's really good. If you're terrible with money, that's actually probably really good for you
Hmm.
because it teaches you financial discipline.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to grow money, it's not good for you. Like
Hmm.
that's not the way to build. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's one thing that I've loved about the community is actually all the other crap that Pace talks about that's not real estate related. Like you
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, being a man and being a head of a household and, providing, but also being a good person.
Hmm.
And, um, what are you leaving for other people to follow?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing I think is just it's just it's so good that I really enjoy about all like Squad Up really showed like for me it was like just showing his reach in all
Yeah.
these different places like God forbid anything were to happen to Pace, but if he was like he always says to get abducted by aliens, like the community that he's leaving behind would I think would in his memory or in his honor
Yeah.
go even harder
Yeah.
um, than what we are doing today. So it's one of those things where it's like you could just see the impact, and
Yeah.
it's so great.
I think that's actually what he's doing, is setting it up so he can start stepping back.
Oh really?
I think so.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, I think that's why he's trying to build up owners clubs so much and build up other people in the community so much. I mean, one, just because that's who he is and he likes to highlight other people, but two, I think so he can pull back a little bit and
Mhm.
focus more on hanging out with his girls and, you know, hanging
Yeah,
out in Montana and stuff like that.
yeah,
And like real big picture stuff.
hmm
I think I don't know. I've just kind of picked up little nuggets here and there, and I was just like, I bet he's stepping back
yeah,
because he used to do what, like 3 Zooms a week, and now he does one a month or
hmm
two a month, maybe. I mean, he was doing that recent community jam thing leading up to Squad Up, but other than that, he doesn't pop on Zooms that much anymore.
yeah. Just a occasional family night or so.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Well, I appreciate the conversation, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, man. Let's chat on Wichita and I'll definitely know who to take stuff to Virginia or who takes stuff to for Virginia. I get asked that actually
Yeah.
somewhat
Awesome.
regularly. So
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
yeah, have a great day.
You as
Good to see you,
well.
man.